Good evening and welcome back to the Goon Multiplayer Spectacular. Currently, Revenant Threshold as the Kiso Minamoto and ScotchDK as the Fukuhara Taira are engaged in head-to-head combat. ScotchDK has had one defeat already and as such is in his elimination rounds, while Revenant is undefeated and so stands a great chance of winning. Now, currently, Revenant's army is 2 Mounted Naginata off to the side here, 3 Bow Levy, 2 Foot Samurai, his Tetsubo Warrior Monk Hero, and some Firebomb Throwers. A very ranged, heavy army, which is liable to grind down his opposition. Now, if we have a look at ScotchDK's army, we see that he's bought some Naginata Levy, Bow Levy, and several Naginata attendants, a few Sword attendants, 3 to be precise, his two Nagi attendants, his Bow Warrior Monks, and of course his Naginata Warrior Monk Hero. So, quite a melee-focused army. It's going to be a real fight, this one. If Scotch can get in combat and engage solidly, keep his morale up, he should have no trouble punching through Revenant's army. But we'll see how that goes. In a bit of a bold move, both players have gone for their respective buildings, the Shrine for Revenant and the Sword Dojo for Scotch. And this Naginata Levy, which is, I assume, sent to harass, but nevertheless, he's a long way from home. Over here, we can see that there's very, very aggressive play from both players, as Revenant sends all 3 Bow Levy up with the purpose of skirmishing. Now, I think he's a little bit far from any support, considering the only visible support are really these Foot Samurai, and I suppose the hero and the Firebomb Throwers. And he's worked this out and is pulling his forces back. So basically, both generals are quite happy to sit, capture their respective buildings, and just engage in a little bit of light skirmishing. Obviously, light skirmishing isn't going to be too much benefit for Scotch, as he just doesn't have the forces for skirmishing. He really should have his Bow Warrior Monks, the Bow Levy rather, out to skirmish, as they're really of no use now that he's taken the Sword Dojo. These Bow Warrior Monks, they're not going to be effective trading shots, and so you don't really want them against that much Bow Levy. Now, this is a very good play, the Naginata Levy coming in from the flank and putting real pressure on Revenant's Bow Levy, so he will be forced to respond quickly. They're already tired from running, and this just keeps the pressure on further. Nevertheless, not too much in the way of a solid battle line from either player, so it's a little bit fluid right now. We'll see how this all comes out. As you heard earlier, the Bow Levy had popped fire arrows, that's the whooshing noise, so immediately their next volley will be fire arrows, and as you can see, they're coming in now. They've got a horrible angle. These Naginata Levy are behind the hill, and so there's no real direct line of sight, so they're forced to arc their shots, and as you can see, the accuracy is horrible. 3 full volleys has taken out a full 16 men. Most of them probably coming at 12 of those kills were from the General's bodyguard. So nearly this entire opening volley with the fire arrows has been negated. But the General's a long way back, and Scotch is going to really have to bring his General forward, get his men in the aura, otherwise he's just going to lose those Levy. Now, Revenant's still got his Mounted Naginata in reserve, but at this point in time, with the troops streaming across the river here, I would have to say that he's looking in a pretty precarious position. The Foot Samurai are solid units and will be able to do a lot of fighting, Tetsubo! Here they go, boom! Slamming into these Naginata Levy, and they're going to cause a fair few kills. The kill counter's just ticking up, and the Naginata Levy are not too happy with that. No one likes fighting Tetsubo. These Naginata attendants of Scotch's have been sent to tie down the Foot Samurai, and that's a pretty decent sort of a move. You'll notice that in the opening charge, they've killed 7 of them. So with the charge bonus up, they do well, but they're just going to get overwhelmed at this point, and they just don't have the morale to stand and fight against this much Foot Samurai with the General all the way back here. So the Naginata attendants the Naginata Levy, have decided to get the hell out of Dodge. Now, Revenant is using his Firebomb Throwers to throw at these Sword attendants, but as you can see, they've got Bonsai up. They're not going to shatter, and he's hitting his own heroes. He's actually caused more kills to his heroes than he did to the Sword attendants, just due to the sheer explosive force. Grenades don't care who they hit, heroes or not. So, probably not the best trade Koku for Koku. As you can see, the Sword attendants of Scotch's are really putting the pressure on because he just doesn't have anything around here to defend. But these Foot Samurai are going to come in, and Sword attendants without support won't stand a chance. As you can see, the Tetsubos, though, they're still fighting well. They're up to 70 kills, doing good damage to the Levy, and Revenant has decided to play the ace in the hole. He's bringing out his mounted Naginata. Scotch has deployed his Naginata Warrior Monk heroes in reserve, but they're just not going to be able to catch these forces. As you can see, the Sword of Tenants have decided to bug out. They're just too far from home with no support, and these Foot Samurai here are going to break these Sword of Tenants as well. Scotch has bought up his General's Bodyguard, but it looks like Revenant's really got control of the field at this point. The bow levy have been broken by the mounted Naginata, and the units are being chased down. The extra cavalry is just really doing their job, and Scotch just can't seem to land a blow on Revenant. Revenant's forces, despite the fact that they're not really heavily melee focused, just those few units he has that have that elite punch are just able to stand up to so much more of Scotch's forces. As you can see, these Bow Warrior Monks, the Foot Samurai slam in, but there's only 15 of them. The Bow Warrior Monks will manage to take them out for the same reason that Scotch's forces have been falling. They just doesn't have superior numbers in the area. They're just going to die. And so we've got the Tetsubos here. There's only 4 of them left, but they've got 100 kills. I'd say they did their job very well. They're probably not going to hold out against the Naginata attendants. Now there's only 3 of them left, but the Bow Levy are coming in just to apply pressure with their numbers. Great play from behind here by Revenant. The mounted Naginata charging across the stream to slam into the Bow Warrior Monks, and Scotch's counter of his Naginata Warrior Monk hero just can't find a spot. He's just not been able to commit this unit, and it's just such a large portion of the fighting power of his force that it's really not going to be able to do it. The general's gone in, but you don't want your general fighting mounted Naginata. And of course, this is going to seal the deal. From the opposite side, we have Revenant's other mounted Naginata unit, charging into the general's bodyguard, and that's it. That general is not going to survive that particular fight, and without the general, there's simply no chance. Revenant drops his general into stand and fight, and although that does mean he catches the attendants are so far from home and outnumbered, they're going to lose. The general here, 8 men left, wavering, that's it, and he's gone. And as you can see, all the other forces have gone, and even the heroes, with their full unit, their morale's too low, and they've shattered. So that's the first match to Revenant. Scotch did well, but he just lacked the cohesion in his force that you really need to launch an assault like that. Revenant was able to withdraw where necessary, tie down units, only fight where it was favourable to him, and then utilise his cavalry to deliver a terrifying 1-2 punch that Scotch just had no answer for. Anyway, it was a great fight, and I hope to see you for the next one.